Well, hello, welcome to Racing for James. We are watching a bit of a playback video. So what happened with this one was a bit of a decision in my head before I started the race. I really wanted to film the video and just record what happened during this race, but I decided no, I'm retesting my new pedals and I'm just sort of getting back into the rig and making sure everything's set up before I start my Laps for Leuko project in just on a week's time. But then I had the race, and it was one of the best races I've had in iRacing in a very long time. So I saved the replay with all intentions of doing a voiceover recording like we are here. So what are we racing? We're racing the Aston Martin GT4 at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. It was a race that you just can't miss on the calendar. We're in top split. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm not aiming to be in top split. You will notice, and the reason for that is...
Oh, come on, number 10. What was that?
We'll try and let the chatter happen in the background as well, but what you'll notice is that I'm in the Aston Martin GT4, and there aren't any. I'm the only one on the grid. So what generally happens in iRacing in the top split is the drivers will select the best car for the track.
You drove across the track.
Ultimately, it's a video game we're playing, and certain cars will do better at certain tracks, and once a couple of top split drivers pick that car, everyone sort of follows suit. And you will notice throughout this video that the speed difference between the BMWs compared to my Aston Martin is next level. I literally can't keep up. But what I do prefer is this sort of racing. I'm mid-pack here, currently sitting in 15th position, which means I have to fight for the whole race rather than driving out front. And racing's not always about winning. It's about having a battle on track and seeing how you go around other cars, which is what I thoroughly enjoy. So effectively, we spend 15 minutes here battling in a pack of 5 or 6 cars the whole way, avoiding little incidents like that where the car in front of you will brush up against the wall. And you will notice he's stolen my car number 21. That is the Racing for James number. But we do keep it pretty close with these guys around the track as we go. So what is it about Mount Panorama? Well, obviously being from Australia, it's one of those tracks that we've watched the V8 supercars for as long as I can remember. I used to, as a child, play with my toy cars on the rug while Bathurst was on, have the Sunday roast cooking in the background. So it is just one of those iconic tracks that you've got to jump into whenever it comes up on the calendar. And when you're driving around, even in the least competitive car, like I said, you can see on the screen now, there's nothing. There's BMWs and there's Mercedes. Actually, there's a Porsche. But even in the least competitive car, you can still manage to have a really, really good time. And that's what it's about. It's about having fun. Some people's drive is getting a higher I rating and winning races. Sure, I'd love that, but it's not what we're about here. Close battles make way, way, way better content, in my opinion. So Mount Panorama Bathurst, well, that's something that's become a bit of a pilgrimage for us at Racing for James now. I'd managed to head over there for the first time for my father's 50th. It was on the 50th anniversary of Mount Panorama, the V8 supercar race as well. So I actually took Dad over there and we had a boys' weekend away. But what we do now is we actually head over there for the Bathurst 6 hour at Easter. That's run over the 4 days of the Easter weekend in Australia. And we take our camper trailer, load up the boys, and we travel quite a long way to get there and spend the weekend camped out at the track. And really, really try and just enjoy our weekend away. And as we've alluded to before, James is probably a bigger motorsport fan than I am. In a previous life, in a previous iteration of Racing for James, I actually had a rally car project where I was aiming, much like I'm doing online now, to raise awareness and funds for disability support providers, and that happened it'd be about 10 years ago now. I used to do that, and it sort of fell to the wayside because I just didn't have the experience and I was a bit younger back then. But the point to that story was how James got involved in motorsport. Well, because I was heavily involved in motorsport, I was doing a lot of timing events and just being around as a volunteer for hill climbs, rally crosses, even state rallies and that sort of stuff. We used to take James out to those events, and quite often you'd find him at the start line, cars doing burnouts, whatever happening in front of him, and he would just sit there in awe of the race cars all day. And even now, on our television, when James gets up in the morning, when he gets home from school, on the weekend, probably even when he's asleep, let's be brutally honest, is reruns of Mount Panorama. So motorsport's in his blood, and it's why I'm doing this project, because motorsport is something that's been pretty close to me. James loves motorsport. We've got a simulator, he can drive, and we can try and use that to do what we're doing here. So James's favourite race at the moment on YouTube, so he watches reruns of the 2023 Bathurst 1000. 23, 22, one of the two. Forgive me, I will recall that in a minute. We were actually supposed to be at that event, but the event was probably one of the wettest Bathurst 1000s in history. We made the pilgrimage, we started the trip over there, and we got about probably an hour out of Hay, so we'd break the trip up into 2 days. So we stayed at Hay overnight. We knew it was going to be wet. We knew, but we were like, no, we're going to Bathurst. We woke up on I think it would have been the Wednesday morning, and the rain was insane. Basically, we started driving, and we knew we weren't going to Bathurst. As much as we wanted to go, it wasn't going to happen. It would have been impossible to get the wheelchair around. It just would have been an absolute nightmare trying to keep James dry and just keep him comfortable so he could have a good weekend. We ended up turning around, heading back down to Victoria and made a bit of a family weekend of it. Still had a great week away. But missing out on that Bathurst 1000 trip meant that I needed to make an opportunity to get the boys back to the mountain. So, as I said a couple of minutes ago, we decided that we would make the pilgrimage over the Easter weekend to the Bathurst 6 Hour, which is production car racing. Production car racing, to me, is something that I haven't watched on TV a lot, but it really resonates well with what I like in motorsport. It's mum and dad teams, it's young people wanting to give it a go, it's people without mega budgets getting out on the racetrack and having fun. And you've also got genuine multi-class racing. On the track there's 7 different categories of cars, big V8s, front-wheel drives, hatchbacks, absolutely everything you can imagine. And it is genuine multi-class racing, 6 hours. So we started making the trip over to Bathurst a couple of years ago. So James has been to 2 events in a row now. And it's going to be our go-to trip over there. It's a very, very quiet family event. We camp in the middle of the track, which when we get into chopper view I'll show you in a minute, but we camp in the middle of the track and just really enjoy the sights and sounds of motorsport. The benefits of going to something like that with a child with special needs is exactly as I said before, the relaxed and quiet atmosphere. Getting to the V8 supercars is a show in itself, let's be brutally honest. It's certainly something that you need to see in your lifetime, but it's a lot of work to manage a wheelchair around those sort of crowds, try and find somewhere to sit around the track to watch the race comfortably as well, as well as just manage the day-to-day needs of James and children for that nature. As I said, everything's inherently harder when you've got special needs, finding change tables, getting him dressed somewhere, making sure that we look after ourselves in the conditions as well. So having the opportunity to get over for the 6 hour is absolutely something that we really want to make sure we keep doing, because there's so few people there. There might be maybe 1,000 people at the event, and it just means that we can switch off as parents. He can sit there in his wheelchair watching race cars, listening to the sounds, and really have a good weekend away. So if you are in Australia, and I don't want to spoil our secret of a nice quiet weekend at the racetrack, but if you are in Australia and you do love effectively really, really good motorsport, head over to the Bathurst 6 Hour at Easter. It's I think the major sponsor is High Tech Oils. It is really great fun. Much like you can see here, the driving's pretty close in the event as well, and you're watching the Aston Martin battle it with 2 BMWs here. So these are the guys that I do spend the vast majority of the race with. It is so much fun being able to drive a car in your living room around such an iconic track like this. And even more so fun doing it in top split. Not that there's anything wrong with any other splits. Doing it in top split in the middle of the pack is something that I, as I said at the very start of the video, thoroughly enjoy. It is amazing. You'll see here the good speed difference. So I've got the green BMW coming up the side here. I do hold the defensive line on the track, but you can see they just close in so much. The downside to their straight line speed, though, is that I've got the benefit over the top of the hill. So again, if you're driving a Mount Panorama, you know that there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities over Mount Panorama. There are if you're confident on the brakes and you've got a car that sticks like glue through the high speed sections. But this is where the Aston Martin has the pace, and quite often as I was going over the top of this hill, I had the room and I had the advantage. So it kept me with them. I stayed in the draft going down Conrod Straight, and it kept me in a really, really intense battle for 15 minutes. And I really actually wish that I did live commentary on this one as the race was going, but you live and learn. And I think it was such a good race because I actively decided that it wasn't going to stream the video. So coming down the hill, we are right on the tail. So you can see we pulled out on that green BMW a little bit behind us. We get a bit of an advantage. See that? That's all over the top of the hill as the other Beamer goes wide, and we do get up the inside of him. But again, you'll see he gets in the aero, and by the end of Conrod Straight down into the chase, these guys are ready to attack again. And it was like that for the entire 15 minutes, which really, really sums up the way iRacing should be. Here he comes looking for the move on the inside. Nope. Can't remember what lap we're on here. I think we're on lap 5 or going into lap 5. There's a couple of really, really good side-by-side moments. So I do want to take an opportunity at this stage to thank Jumbo's Chop Shop, Old Man Jumbo from Missed Apex Racing League. He was the brains behind Missed Apex Racing League. He's generously donated a livery for the Aston Martin GT4 for Laps for Leuko. You will see on the side of the car we have Leukodystrophy Australia, which is the charity I'll be aiming to raise money for through this channel. We at Racing for James make nothing out of this project. I do it literally to share our journey and share our story and just have fun in the simulator, basically. But it's something very, very close to us. And like I said, the whole Racing for James project we had used to raise money previously as well. But I think having an online platform now where we can do it digitally, no risk. We could be in the lounge room and I can be in charge of when I make content and how the project goes. And we are very lucky to have that sort of technology available to us to produce this sort of stuff in the world of motorsport that we love as well. So it is quite a fun thing we're looking to achieve here. And like I said, spending a whole month in the Aston Martin is going to be very, very interesting to say the least. So I do have some goals with Laps for Leuko, and it is going to be a project that I am, as we go down the dipper, it is going to be a project that I hope to build over the years. The idea is that effectively I'm just going to be driving and live streaming on YouTube every month. Every month. I wish every month. I think I'd probably get in trouble at home if I did it every month. But I really just hope to live stream every night, every day on YouTube. It is going to be a variety of sessions. So there might be 1 hour sessions, there might be 6 hour sessions, there might be 2 hours. It's going to fit in around our life, our appointments, and whatever we need to do. But it's something that I really want to put the hours into and just have a lot of fun with as well. So the plan will be, initially we are starting in week 13 of iRacing. However, on the Saturday, so it'll be, from memory, the first is the Sunday, so it'll be Saturday the 6th or Saturday the 7th of September. I should know by quick maths, but it'll be that Saturday there'll be a 2 hour race, which iRacing are actually doing a testing event for a new ranking system or a new split system. So we'll be doing a 2 hour race. So the first week of our Laps for Leuko will be in the Aston Martin at that particular track, and I'm just going to run as many laps as I possibly can. We will stream as we go into week 1 of the next season of iRacing, we will start to stream GT4 fixed races, which we're running here now, fixed setup, 15-minute quick races. We will also be involved in I think it's the Falcon Tyre Sport Challenge, which is the GT4 and LMP3 series. So they're a 30-minute multi-class race where you've got the faster LMP3s that generally lap the field once in a half-an-hour race. But it does give a little bit of variety, and it gives me an opportunity to drive an open setup in this Aston Martin as well. So we are coming into the last lap of the race here. Well, you would have seen the white flag as we went along the top there, but we ended up in P... Let me just have a quick look here. We ended up in P17 out of all that. We did start, I think it was P15. We gained a spot in turn 1 because of somebody coming off the track, but it ultimately was one of the best races I've had in iRacing. I think I've said that about 3 times in this video now, but hopefully you guys will get to see more of this sort of stuff over the month as well. Like I said, I want to be able to put content out that shows me driving in a pack of cars. That's what racing's about. Racing's about winning. No, let's not hide the fact. Racing is about winning. And hopefully we can win some races as well along the way. But I'm critically aware that in Fixed GT4, in top split, I'm not going to win unless the Aston Martin is the what they call the meta car. So as I said, guys, thanks for watching this. This is my first voiceover video of my race, and I'll try not to do it again. I'll try and actually stream the videos so I don't have to talk over it. But as I said, thanks for watching that one, guys, and we will see you in what's going to be a week for you guys. So we'll see you next Sunday when we're going to kick off laps for Leuko and run and spend a lot more time in the Aston Martin GT4. You finished pressing all the buttons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.